What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and we're just over here sitting, sipping our low to medium grade coffee in a mug that my wife made in 2017. As these super huge mega corporations, in particular in the video game community, seem to always be signaling how woke and progressive they are, only to find themselves mired in controversy and basically behavior that is the exact opposite. Now, Ubisoft has been under scrutiny over the past couple weeks for some spicy behavior, but now the greater video game industry is interested because fresh report says that Ubisoft culture highlights reluctance to let you play as a woman in Assassin's Creed. In fact, the quote was, are you ready? Ready? Women don't sell. Now, I don't agree with that. I think Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, there's a wide variety of female-led video game franchises that sell totally fine. I just think it's kind of hilarious coming from somebody who is always virtue signaling about, Women's Day and Pride Month. While they're taking all this time to do this, you get articles like this. Ubisoft's toxic culture problems allegedly span more than a decade. Ubisoft is again in trouble for more claims of bad behavior, endemic problems of all sorts of the isms. In a report published today, Bloomberg extensively details inappropriate behavior by top executives and managers, particularly around Chief Creative Officer Serge Hascoe. I'm not sure. It's French. The games industry is once again experiencing an outpouring of the me as well stories. Over the past few weeks, Ubisoft in particular has been a hotbed of stories of systemic bad behavior. Several employees have already come forward publicly on Twitter to discuss bad behavior they endured at Ubisoft. A previous report from Kotaku pointed to top executives Tommy Francois and Maxime Bieland, among others, as perpetrators of grossly over-the-line behavior, including one instance in which Bieland allegedly put his hands around a female employee's neck. Maybe he was giving her a massage. Maybe it's a French thing. They didn't understand. Maybe he was respecting her. Now, Bloomberg's story today, current and former staffers say that employees have made repeated claims to HR for years. They describe Ubisoft as a boys' club, where employees like Hasco would hold business meetings at dance clubs. Women shared stories of managers telling them to smile more and making grossly inappropriate comments about their bodies, and colleagues who sent them spicy messages and videos. According to Bloomberg, employees repeatedly reported these people to HR. Both were still promoted after claims were made. Well, maybe there was no evidence. I don't know. I think given the sheer, in this particular case, I think given the sheer amount of claims, it seems unlikely that they're all false. In Bloomberg's story today, current and former staffers that employees have made repeated claims. They describe Ubisoft as a boys' club. Oh, we hit that already. The problems don't stop there. Bloomberg reports, in a 2015 group of staff in Sofia, Bulgaria, were watching the trailer for Star Wars The Force Awakens featuring actor John Boyega, who's black. People just collectively went, hey, look, it's a monkey. Whoa! 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 Woohoo! I did not see that coming. see what I did there? I did not see that coming. Actually, that doesn't really apply, but whatever. The full report, which includes many details about the former developer's culture and reticence to create games with female leads, is worth a read. Earlier this month, Ubisoft held a digital event to reveal Far Cry 6 and talk about several of its upcoming projects without addressing the ongoing problems at the studio. In a follow-up tweet, the company said, we still have significant work to do and committed to the process. Now, I was sent this tweet earlier coming from Jill Murray, who's a former, utterly revolted former writer for Assassin's Creed and Tomb Raider, currently at Subnautica, interested in game dev health, BLM, pronouns in the bio. Now, Jill had a semi-viral tweet here with the gentleman from editorial said, quote, the protagonist must be a straight white alpha male. and underlined it in red marker, stamping a foot for emphasis. I was demoted over this issue and I quit. I'll take things that never happened for 400, Alex. I trust this cannot be interpreted as disparaging since the studio was proud of it. And you see here, I was in the Montreal studio on Assassin's Creed 2 to 10, which was Origins, and Ubisoft execs said, women don't sell every single time. I am in awe of Ubisoft Quebec staff who fought teeth and claws to get Evie and later Cassandra to even exist. No, before them, many battles were lost. Horizon Zero Dawn, best-selling new IP for PlayStation 4. Last of Us 2, fast-selling first-party PS4 exclusive ever. Women don't sell. Again, I don't agree that women don't sell. So you hear Schreier here. Among many details I learned while reporting this piece, the developers of Assassin's Creed Odyssey wanted Cassandra to be the only playable lead, but Ubisoft's marketing team and creative lead Serge would not allow it. Women don't sell, they said. Well, I don't know. I don't agree with that. Maybe the numbers do bear that out, but when I look at a video game, for example, if the new Far Cry had a female lead, Far Cry 6, I would be nothing, it wouldn't change my interest in the game at all. Most games we get nowadays have just body types anyway. You don't even know what their actual gender is. But anyway, here's an anecdote about Serge from Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillermo's close friends, and until his resignation this month, chief creative officer for decades. With one word, he could greenlight or cancel a game. Devs would spend months in preparation for Serge meetings. Claims that he behaved inappropriately around women extended to the office as well. In a meeting at Ubisoft's headquarters in Paris, one of the top creative leads in a big game was presenting to him and other decision makers of the company. When the lead, a woman, left the room to use the bathroom, he pulled up a YouTube video. According to the two present at the meeting, he played a French song, deliberately spicy acts with the woman who had the same name as the presenter. Hit pause when the employee walked back in the room. Say the two people who requested that the woman's name not be printed, as was common at high-level meetings in Ubisoft. There were no other women present. Ubisoft's headquarters, and again, I'll give Schreier the credit here for his article. The thing with Schreier, though, or Schreier, he does seem to be the go-to for disgruntled ex-employees. That doesn't mean they're lying. It just means that he seems to be the place where ex-employees always go and then just get whatever they say printed under the guise of anonymity. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying basically Jason's last 10 pieces are the linchpins are disgruntled ex-employees. At Ubisoft's headquarters in Paris, when employees complained about Tommy Francois, they would just be told that it was Tommy being Tommy. Current and former employees say that the boss enabled bad behavior by fashioning the editorial quarters into a sort of frat-like one in the Animal House. People who worked at the department describe spicy videos on computers, boozy lunches, and a chorus of inappropriate jokes. I mean, that's any office. I mean, honestly, every office I've ever worked in, people would, when we went out to lunch, people would have drinks. I mean, you're adults. Were people getting hammered? Not often. 5 workers, and by the way, that was both men and women. I worked in pretty progressive companies. 5 workers say they reported Francois to HR for various times. Nothing happened. One former Ubisoft employee said they wrote an email to the CEO some years ago with problems about Francois. Not long after Francois was promoted. And, Schreier talks about Horizon Zero Dawn, more than 10 million copies sold in a lifetime. Obviously, I don't agree that female-led video games don't sell. I mean, that's just a bad take. But here's the one thing that people are really upset about. This is why Ubisoft is canceled. It was recently revealed that Cassandra was supposed to be the only lead in Assassin's Creed Odyssey until Ubisoft executive intervened and said women don't sell. Now, this is just hearsay. Everyone's just presenting it as fact. But I, of course, being the stunning and brave ethical journalist will say this is simply hearsay. 3 weeks ago, Ubisoft suspended executives Tommy Francois and Maxime Belland. The latter announced his resignation shortly after. Just last week, Ubisoft announced 3 more execs: Chief Officer Serge, Managing Marketing Director Yanis Milat, and Global Head of HR were all resigning their positions too. However, the misogyny of this exec seeped into the company's games too. According to a Bloomberg report, the only reason Alexios became playable option in Assassin's Creed Odyssey was primarily because Hansko said women don't sell, after it was suggested that Cassandra be a solo lead. Among many details I learned while reporting for this piece, the developers of Assassin's Creed, we already seen that, Ubisoft recently admitted they had fallen short in relation to the workplace bad behavior, but the Bloomberg report corroborates across 40 anonymous sources from the company that these practices have been going on for years and gradually seeped into the publisher's games. Now, you can read the entire piece from Schreier. I'm not going to rob him of those views. You know, I mean, I will have an archive link. You know, the idea that machismo is necessarily a bad thing. You know, they talk about the bad behavior inside of Ubisoft, which of course I disavow. They talk about things. One of Hasko's favorite buzzwords, according to those who worked with him, is systemic. In industry parlance, it describes part of the gameplay in which the player can interact and experiment. He would frequently tell developers to strive for experiences that were systemic, or systemic, sorry. Employees would say the irony isn't lost on the current staff, who agreed to discuss issues of misconduct under the conditions of anonymity. As one employee puts it, at least we didn't succeed in being systemic somewhere. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty rough piece. You know, workplace culture, I'm sorry to say, I'm not sorry. The reality of it is, I'm not saying it's all good. But how do I say this without look, whatever, if you're touching people inappropriately or all this stuff, obviously that's not okay. However, most people who have never worked a real job with people that really work hard, play hard, they would be shocked. They wouldn't make it in any of the offices I worked in. Now, there weren't this kind of stuff going on, but certainly it would not be uncommon for people to have a liquid lunch. It wouldn't be uncommon for some people there to roll one up on their break. Wouldn't be uncommon either for people to work from 5 in the morning until midnight nonstop. And eventually these people need a break, and it comes out in various ways. Now, this behavior, obviously unacceptable, and it looks like they're firing plenty of people because of it. Not selling video games because you don't think women sell, that's probably not a smart idea. It's not even backed up by the data, but it is funny to watch all of this. Be honest with you, it's probably not going to affect whether or not I buy a video game from the company. I don't know. You have to see how much of this shake out, because a lot of this stuff is just bad work environment from a small percentage of people. Bloomberg's paywalled article highlights various ongoing investigations. It's interesting that it's paywalled, but all these other article people are just stealing quotes from it and using it on theirs. I mean, how does Schreier feel about that? Interesting. We'll have to watch Ubisoft after all this. I wonder what color they'll change their Twitter logo to now. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.